Thank you all for joining us. We are very excited to do this webinar. We are talking about the student navigation and some best practices for student navigation in Brightspace specifically. So we are looking forward to giving you an opportunity to see the student side of things in Brightspace specifically. Most of the content that you'll see today is based upon the feedback that we received from a Brightspace survey that was sent out to students recently. So we had some items that were giving students frustrations, and they just had some questions. So we're hoping to clarify a few of these things so that you as faculty members or student support can provide crystal clear answers for them. We're hoping that it might be able to be used as a recording in the future that you can send as a resource to students as well. So these are just recommendations for reiterations. If you need us to go over anything and clarify anything at any point in time, let us know. We're just going to go over the common questions and obstacles based upon the students' Brightspace survey responses and give you a little bit of a student perspective in Brightspace. So let me get over into Brightspace for you.
All right, so the first thing we're going to go over today is a couple of different screens in Brightspace that contain a lot of important information. Some information is available on multiple screens, and so we just want to kind of show you a little bit more in detail about where you can find this information and maybe address some of the common questions we received as well. So to start off, let's talk about the quick guide. And the quick guide is something that appears when you first log into the course. So when you click the course from the Brightspace home screen, you arrive in your course, and this little screen here appears in front of you. And it's a great tool just to get some important information about the course right up front. You can see here that there are Zoom resources and a research toolkit, RefWorks as well, and then some student resources like a link to our website that contains student support contact information and university resources as well. And this quick guide can sometimes contain multiple screens. You might see 2 or 3 or even 4 or 5 different steps within the quick guide. And if you click on the next one here, you'll see that there is a syllabus, and that's pretty standard. That will appear in pretty much every quick guide, but you might also have information about, let's say, a key assessment that is a major part of the course, and there may be a little section on that. So it's a great way to just familiarize yourself with the course when you first enter it. One important thing to know is that this screen will appear every time you log into the course, unless you click through the entire, all of the pages in the screen and then click dismiss. If you click the top right, and just to kind of dismiss it right away and click the little X up there, that will not prevent it from appearing again. It'll continue to appear every time you log into the course. So if you don't want to look at that again, you can dismiss, and that will solve that problem. And you can get back to the quick guide anytime just by clicking on the right here when you log into the course, if you want to, a really easy way to get to that information in the future. Next up, I wanted to take a look at the Welcome, Getting Started, and Syllabus module here on the course home screen. And this is just to show you that you can access those same resources in this screen as well. So everything that appears in that quick guide will also appear on the Welcome page here as well when you click into that module. So there are a few ways to get to this information, and I think some of the feedback has been around a little bit of confusion about that. So this is just kind of showing you the different places you can find that info. So let's see, going back to the course home screen, you can see here that all of the modules for the course are shown on the home screen here. Some programs that we have allow you to view every single module right from the beginning of the course, and some are designed to only give you access when you reach that particular week in the course. So this could look a little bit different, and the access might be a little bit different depending on which program or course that you're in. But this is, if you're looking to find week 2, week 3, week 4, any content that you're looking for, you can always get to it from this home screen. And announcements will appear near the top. There's nothing here right now. This is not a live course, but announcements will appear. They are organized by date, so the most recent announcement should appear right on the top from the instructor, and including the welcome announcement, which is an important one to access office hours and contact info for the instructor. Let's take a look in week 1. And here you'll see a full overview of all the content for the week. And this is really probably the best place to go to just see everything in one place. You can see that there is an overview and checklist, course materials, ask the instructor, week 1 introductions, and then the assignments are below as well. So you can click into any one of those to see additional details. For example, the overview for the week will include some more info, learning objectives, etc. One really useful tool that I wanted to show you is the table of contents, and that appears right on the left-hand side. So if you click into week 1 like we did, you see this right on the left, and you can click through that to week 1, week 2, week 3. As you can see, you can access any module in the course right from that table of contents. If, let's say, you clicked on week 1 assignment in here, or really any of those, and you click on that little button on the left-hand side, that will show you also the table of contents. So you can really access this from a number of places. And if you want to skip ahead, you can click the right arrow and move ahead to different weeks and click into different areas that you want. So it really prevents you from having to jump backwards and forwards in your browser to find these things. So that's a helpful tool. Going back to the course homepage, I wanted to mention just quickly the widgets that are on the side. And we went over the quick guide, but below that is the activity feed, and you might find some things appearing there, and also an about the instructor section where your instructor may post information about themselves and a photo, and possibly a link to their social media pages, as you can see that as an option as well. And below that, I'm going to hand it back to Emily to talk a little bit about calendars and checklists.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Hi, everybody again. Yes, so we have several places where students can utilize the tools of Brightspace to help keep themselves on track within the Brightspace tools that are available. So the calendar is one of these, and you can find this located at both the bottom of these widget screens. So all the way at the bottom of course homepage, it's available there for you to access. You can also go to the very top in the menu bar, and calendar is accessible from right up there. So from this screen, students are able to see deadlines for their courses, and they can add stuff to this too. But if you go to the month list, I find this to be a little bit more helpful. You can see all of the deadlines directly listed within the calendar. So anything, for example, here, in March 2022, you can see all of the deadlines that are upcoming. You can scroll over them to see a little preview. You can click directly into them to see exactly what it is, when it's due, what time it's due. To get a little bit more information, you can click on more. So that just has a great preview for you to be able to see what is due. And that calendar keeps track of your assignments and anything that needs to be submitted in your courses. So calendar is a great way to help students keep themselves on track. We also have checklists that our college makes for students. So if you go within the module, so go to content of your course activities, and then most weekly modules will have their own specific checklist. So if we go into week 1 checklist here, the nice thing about these checklists is that it will not only show you your information that needs to be due that week. So discussions usually have their deadlines here, and you can see the deadlines for those, but it will also show you information that might not be needed to be submitted. So for example, something that you'll want to do in week 1 is review the syllabus, and you can click it right off, and it just shows that your checklist is closer to being done. So you can click right through this as you go through the weekly module, or wait till the end just to make sure and confirm that you've completed everything in the course. But again, this shows you not only things that need to be submitted during the week, but also some other things to keep yourselves on track throughout the course. So there will be little tips and hints to make sure that you are keeping up with any content that might be due later on in the course. So that's the checklist. There is also a built-in automatic checklist with Brightspace itself. So if we go back to week 1, there are checks that will appear as you go through the content here on the right-hand side. So at the very top, Zach, if you don't mind going right back up, it shows you 58.57% of 2 of 7 topics complete. So this is just showing you the progression of the topics within the module. So you can see whether or not you've gone through everything in the course for this specific week. And a way to see which ones that you've completed or not is on the right-hand side. So those little check marks and those dots, check marks mean it's been reviewed. The dot means that there might still be something that needs to be looked at or reviewed or submitted. So just keeping an eye on those is going to help keep students on track too. So if you see that there is some topics that are incomplete, just kind of go through this again to see everything on the right-hand side, whether or not it's been checked off for you. So another little quick tool that you can use to keep yourselves on track. And then we also have more tools in Brightspace as well that Zach is going to go through for you.
All right. So next up, let's talk a little bit about bookmarks. And these are a great way to save important content that you may want to easily access at any given point, really, but also I think it's really helpful for things you might want to look at throughout the course. So going back to the idea of a key assessment, many of our courses have a final project or key assessment, and you may gain or be presented with information about that throughout the course. And so a nice way to save something like that is to use the bookmark feature. And so when you click into almost any content, really, assignments, discussions, a week overview, whatever you'd like to save, when you click into that, you'll see a little ribbon on the right-hand side. And if you click that button, that will notify you at the bottom that you have successfully added a bookmark. And to access your bookmarks, you go back to the table of contents here, and you can see right at the top bookmark area. And so everything will stay in there as long as you keep it bookmarked. So I think it's a nice way to kind of save yourself from having to navigate around. Maybe if you've forgotten where something is located, you can save yourself that trouble by creating some bookmarks along the way within the course. Mm-hmm. Another thing I wanted to go over quickly is the assignment submission views. And there are a couple different ways to look at the assignments within the weekly content. So if you go into a particular week, like we're in week 1 right now, you can see the week 1 assignment listed there, and there's a bunch of details about that assignment that you can see. If you click the blue link at the top, that will bring you into the area where you can actually submit that assignment. And by scrolling down at the bottom, you can see here you can upload a file, record a video, a couple different options there, as well as taking a quick look if you're interested to see the rubric. You can click there and see all of that information as well. So that's one way to access an assignment and submit an assignment, but there is another way as well that can be helpful. If you click at course activities and then assignments, that will bring up a nice list of all the assignments that are due within the course. And it's just a great way to get an overview of the entire course. You can still click into each individual assignment from that screen and get to a submission area. As you can see down below, it's really a lot of the same information as the other screen, but the benefit of the assignments view in this way is to be able to kind of even more easily access the rubric, for example. It's listed right out there. And then at the bottom, you'll see, again, you can add a file, add comments as well, and submit the assignment from there. One thing I wanted to look at on the assignment screen, if you could just go back to that view, is you can view on here that whether or not you have submitted the assignment itself. So it says here under completion status, not submitted, of course, for our demonstration, but you would be able to easily confirm if you have submitted assignments from this view. You can see the due dates easily, the score, the grade that you've received, and then the evaluation status will display feedback if that is available, and you can click into the feedback right from there. We'll take a little bit of a closer look at that later on in this presentation. I think that's all I wanted to cover for that. I'll hand it back to Emily again to talk about discussions.
Thank you. Yes, so we are going to talk about discussions next. They do automatically come up with a specific reading view. So if you want to just go ahead and get into discussions, similar to assignments, you can access any discussion from the weekly modules if they are linked within there. But the discussion page will show you all of the discussions that are available. There's a few different ways to navigate this screen if you want to quickly get to a specific forum that will have multiple topics. If you click on collapse all forums, it will just make it a little bit more concise so you're able to see which topics are within each forum. So the bigger one here will be the class discussion forum. And you can just click to expand it and be able to see all the weekly discussions that may be linked throughout your course. And again, these will most likely be specifically linked within each module as well. So you'll go into week one, see your week one introductions, and be able to click right into it. There are also some settings that you can play around with to make the discussion views easier to navigate. So if we go back to the discussions list, and you are able to adjust your settings by clicking on the right-hand side, settings. There are a few different views here that we can play around with. So one that might specifically help you is to always show the discussion list pane, and I'll show you what that means. But if we click on that, that will have something that basically shows you what we went through just now. And then we would suggest putting on the reading view instead of the grid view. There are a few more settings here that you can play around with. It's pretty much up to your preference. And one specific one that might be helpful is in your subscription settings. When creating a new thread, subscribe to the thread by default. So this would help you to stay up to date on anybody that might respond to your post. If you're introducing yourself or any future post, you'll automatically be able to be notified about your responses that you might receive. So if we hit save here, I'll show you what that discussion list pane means. You'll still have the same screen here no matter what you do as far as changing the settings, but let's go back into week one introductions. And here you will see that there is the discussion pane forum now, so you can jump from week to week and see different discussions if you want to keep up your tabs on any of them. but you still are able to see the full description of the discussion board and everything that needs to be provided and what's required for that discussion. So it's a great little space to see that. The rubrics there, you can see that you can start your new thread to do your first initial post and participate in the discussion as need be. That discussion list pane just makes your life a little easier if you want to jump between forums or aren't sure exactly where you need to be. That can be a nice quick link instead of having to go back and forth between the discussion list and where you are trying to participate. So that's a great way to do it. I do want to talk about subscribing as well. So you'll see just underneath this week 3 project overview exchange, you'll see the subscribe button. And if you click on that, it will give you different notification options. So if you decide to get notified, you can click on one of those and be able to get updates on when anybody is participating, however you please. So that's another way to subscribe. Again, you can do it this way for the whole discussion board if you just want to be notified, or if you turn on that automatic setting that we discussed within the settings to be notified when somebody responds to you. That's an option as well. So that is pretty much a breakdown of everything we want to show as far as submissions go and discussions, and making sure that you have a good overview of where students can participate. But there is a big concern, obviously, with grading. Everybody wants to know what they are, how they're doing in their course too. So we are going to switch over to a different class now. And Zach is going to kick us off with just discussing the grades view.
All right, so this is a student view of a class in our applied nutrition program. And it's, I wanted to take, like Emily said, a little bit of a chance to look into grades more. So as you can see in the top of the navigation bar here, there's a grades button link, and in there you see grades and class progress. And let's take a look at grades first. So this grade page shows all of the assignments throughout the course. It's all in one view, which is nice. It's listed in chronological order, and you can see your grade as a percentage here. You can kind of take a look and make sure, see how many points you've earned as well. So you can see the total points as well as the percentage, and then also access the feedback. And it's nice here that you can view the feedback without having to click elsewhere. Unlike the assignment screen, which I showed you earlier, you can also access the feedback from there with a quick click. But in the grades view, it's all very easily accessible, and you can also see the rubric there as well. If you want to get some details about how the instructor arrived at that particular grade, you can view it right from there. The assignment view, we can kind of just take a look at that again, just as a comparison. If you go back to the course activities and click assignments, we already looked at this briefly, but in this, as you can see in this live course, that you can see feedback there, like I mentioned, and click that to get into the feedback. And then you can also see, again, confirmation that you submitted the assignment and the score and the due date as well. So it's just another way to view the grades that you've received on your assignments from that screen. I think that's all for grades. We're going to talk next a little bit about class progress.
So yes, grades is one space where you can obviously find your grades. The class progress is a space where students can check how they're doing all across the course in one space. So as a faculty and student support goes, you'll be able to see the full class. But for students, this is where they can go to get a bigger picture of everything, essentially. So as soon as they click on class progress, you'll get a full summary. So it does break down everything on the left-hand side. It just keeps everything quick and concise. But that is everything that you're able to access within class progress. They can see their full summary here. If you want to see anything specifically, for example, you can go to grades here as well and expand this. You can expand it that way. You can also click on the side menu to click on grades. So this will still be mostly a summary in the summary area. But if you go to grades progress, you'll be able to see more feedback. These graded items, so if you want to expand those. So for example, you're able to see when they are modified as far as grades go and any kind of specific feedback. So again, if they want to see a full picture of how they're doing in the course, this is everything available in one space. So that's great. They can also see their learning objectives and everything like that. But if we go into access of content topics as well, this is another space where they can see how they're doing in each module. That bar that we showed you at the top of week 1, this is where you can see how you're progressing through the course. So if you've missed anything, or maybe you're unable to access the next module, this is a space that can be viewed to see if you were missing anything from the previous module. So you might just have one more thing to do in order to access the next one. There's the ability to check on your participation in discussions in this. Also, your assignment submissions can be viewed here too. So really, there is just a bigger picture as far as content progress goes, of the progress that you're making through the course in class progress. So there's the ability to see feedback, your quiz submissions, that might be a big one too. If you have quizzes in your course, if you want to go back and see if you were given any feedback on the quiz, this is a great space to do so. So quizzes will probably be accessed here more often than not if they are in your course, just to get the feedback once those are graded. And yeah, so there's a really big picture of everything that you can access here. For faculty and student support, those last few up the course access, no, you got it, course access, course access, login history, and system access history. You might be referring to these just to see when students are participating in their course. So this might be a great space to check out if you are having any questions about what the student needs to be doing for the course, or if you have any trouble getting in touch with them, this might be a place that you want to check in on your students. So that's it for our student view as far as the preview goes. I did want to also mention that most of what we showed you today too, students do get a little mini preview in their new student orientation for all of these navigation processes. So not only are they getting an introduction to University of New England online, they are also able to kind of practice all of this stuff in the new student orientation. So don't be afraid to direct them back to their orientation. We also have a lot of links available under Brightspace support with quick little videos as well. So if you want to give them an opportunity to explore on their own, or if you want to refer them to anything, Brightspace support on the Success site is a great space. This concludes basically our preview at this time. So we want to thank you all for joining us. Please reach out if you have any other questions or are hoping for any other webinars in the future. We'd be happy to make them.